An IUL audit may save you thousands of dollars. In this educational episode, I'm going to address the question, what is an IUL audit? Well, I'm Doug Andrew, and I'm going to share with you some things that a lot of financial advisors don't understand, so get ready to learn. So I've been helping people optimize assets and minimize tax now for nearly 5 decades, helping people prepare a lot of times for a comfortable retirement so they will not outlive their money, so that their retirement income is tax-free and they will be immune from the negative impact of taxes, inflation, and market volatility. And so when people come to me for all of the years that I've helped them optimize their assets, their goal was to use life insurance for living benefits because they would read my books or come to seminars or hear me on the radio or watch YouTube videos. And so they would go, golly, this sounds intriguing, Doug, but I always thought insurance in general was a poor investment. I said, well, actually, we agree because it's really not an investment. It's a tax-free insurance contract. Investments are taxable, and we don't want to be one of those, okay? But unfortunately, a lot of agents do not understand how to structure them correctly so that they can perform at their optimum level. So let me talk about this frankly with you right now and help you understand why an audit may be a good idea for you if the professional or the person, if they weren't professional, that set it up for you didn't understand what they were doing. And that's why in my book, Laser Fund, that I'm going to gift you at the end of this episode, there's actually 14 questions in there that you can ask an advisor. And if they don't know the answers to those 14 questions off the cuff, that should be a red flag. But there's some other ways to look at it. So let's talk about the general theory behind max funded IUL. You're trying to put in a set amount of money, reposition assets, sock away $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $10,000 a year, $25,000 a year. Sometimes we work with people that are already retired. And so oftentimes the 55 to 75-year-olds, this is what they come wanting to reposition money that they have trapped in their IRAs or 401ks. So for years, it was very common for a client to come in and they were sick and tired of the volatility in the market, and that's where their IRAs and 401ks were. And they were savers, and they could see they were not going to be in a lower tax bracket. So they wanted to get the taxes over and done with sooner than later, rather than continue to defer and procrastinate to some future perceived unknown advantage and then pull the money out of the IRAs or 401ks 10 or 15 years down the road when it's bigger and taxes are higher. That doesn't make sense. So when they finally got that epiphany, they would come in and say, well, Doug, I want to reposition some money out of my IRAs or 401ks, $300,000, but I'm going to have to cough up $100,000 in tax, and so I need a net of $200,000. So that's what I'll net after tax, and I want it to be tax-free from now on, and I don't want to be subject to taxes, inflation, and market volatility hurting this account anymore. I'll say, well, it's IUL that will solve that. So they might want to reposition $200,000. They may have a rental home that they're sick and tired of being the landlord and taking out the trash, evicting the tenants, fixing the toilets and so forth. And so they want to get rid of this albatross around their neck, and they sell that rental property and they have another $200,000. And then maybe they have another $100,000 that is underperforming or non-performing, basically, in a bank or a credit union, rowing upstream at the rate of 1 or 2 miles an hour. That's 1 or 2% interest. And they know the current of inflation is coming down faster than that. They're going backwards where they have that. Whenever people came to me, I was trying to optimize assets to increase what? The liquidity of their money, the safety, the rate of return, and the tax benefits. And the best vehicle is a laser fund because that's what laser means, liquid assets safely earning returns. So when they would come in, I would design their bucket. Now, most of my clients have been between 55 to 75 to 80 years old. And they were going to be funding their IUL policies, their buckets, usually within 5 years and less than 10 years. but most of the time within 5 years, and they had to spread it out over 5 years to comply with a TAMRA tax citation. And so if they wanted to reposition in that example I just gave you, $200,000 from IRAs or 401ks, $200,000 from the sale of a rental home, and another $100,000 underperforming in a bank or credit union, that's a total of $500,000. Well, unfortunately, if we put that all in at once, it would only grow tax deferred in an IUL. If they died, it would blossom and transfer tax-free. But the goal is to have tax-free income. So you have to comply with TAMRA. You have to spread it out. Now, usually if you're over age 50, we say, well, it's about five periodic payments. Technically speaking, if I had $500,000, I could put $100,000 in the first day of the first year, $100,000 the first day of the second year. So that's 1 year and 1 day. 2 years and 1 day, 3 years and 1 day. In 4 years and 1 day, you could get all $500,000 into the bucket. And then all of the growth and all the income thereafter, when you do it the smart way, is totally income tax free. And it knocks the socks off of IRAs or 401ks. This is where I've averaged 11 and netted 10 by rebalancing and diversifying between indexing strategies. So if you have $1 million in there, or for every million you've accumulated, it can generate as much as a 10% payout, $100,000 a year, tax-free, for as long as you live, based on actual history and the strategies on turning on tax-free income, okay, the smart way. So when they come in and they meet, this is sort of a simplified version. If they're older and they're going to fund that IUL within 5 years, let's say, then I want to use the level death benefit, because that will be the cheapest insurance, and they will be self-insured maybe within 12 years. Because they put in $500,000, they can get away if they're age 60 with only $1 million of insurance. They're not doing it for the insurance, they're doing it for the living benefit, but that's the minimum amount that's required by the IRS. Well, when they get that $500,000 in there, if they earn 9.6 like I've averaged since 1980, that 500 grand will double to $1 million within 7.5 years. So many times in the 12th year, many of my clients, their cash value equals the death benefit. So this is why this is like buy term, invest the difference on steroids, because you're now self-insured. Your cash value equals the death benefit, and it will continue to grow. $1 million can double to $2 million. And if you die, the insurance company pays out 5% more than your cash, but they're only charging you for that little net amount of risk. Now, a lot of agents don't understand that. There are agents out there that just have a cliche, oh, level is the devil. And I go, oh, brother, you have no clue what you're talking about. Level is the optimal way to make the cost of the insurance get cheaper as you get older until it costs you virtually nothing in as soon as 12 years. So that's for people who are putting money in large lump sums, repositioning assets, usually between the ages of 50, 60, 65. And so this is a bucket builder. And so when we do audits, we're auditing a policy to see what kinds of assets they were going to reposition and how much they have repositioned. And so, and are they doing this on schedule? Because if you don't maximum fund it, it's not going to perform like you originally intended. But the first thing I do, I go through and I calculate, well, what is the bucket size? What's the death benefit? And all of a sudden I go, they're putting in $500,000. They only need at age 60, $1 million death benefit. Why did you sell them $2 million? Well, I don't know. I just, nobody taught me how to do this right. What is the ramifications of having more insurance than you needed? I don't care if it's 200,000 or 300,000 more than $1 million. That means if you could earn 11, you won't net 10. If you earn 11, you might only net 6 or 7 or 8. But unfortunately, that also tells me they don't know what they're doing if they just sold you an indexed insurance contract and then they walk away. You need to be able to diversify into 1, 2, 3, or 4 different indices or strategies, and then you need to rebalance every year and reallocate. That is what takes a return from 7% up to 11%. People say, how did you get 11? What universal life did that? Well, it is several universal life contracts blended and diversified and rebalanced every single year. That's what you do to get 11. And so, unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize why their IUL is not performing. And so if they're younger and they're just putting in $500 or $600 a month, then you would use an increasing death benefit. We use the same formula, except we maybe have to divide it out over a 7-year period. But you only use the increasing death benefit up until the time that you stop putting money into the policy. When you stop paying premiums in the policy, you flip over to the level death benefit. The only advantage of the increasing death benefit is the ability to put in more money. But pretty soon, you're paying for more and more expense of insurance the older you get. Because the increasing death benefit means if you put in $500,000 and you die and the original death benefit was $1 million, the insurance company will pay out $1.5 million. But they're going to keep charging you for that original $1 million of life insurance instead of charging you for only half that in 5 years when you get it maximum funded. So you need to make sure what your goals are in alignment with how your policy is structured. That's why I recommend you have it audited by an agent that is proficient, that can analyze what was this designed to do, and then was it structured correctly so that you don't have any more cost for insurance than needed, and that you're on track to put it in there. Or if you're using the increasing death benefit, that's in alignment, and that you're going to stop and switch to the level death benefit as soon as you've stopped funding it. Otherwise, you're missing out on thousands of dollars. So hopefully this video is helping you understand. If you're interested in learning more, I would recommend you study this book called The Laser Fund. It's my 11th book. It's been flying off of our warehouse shelves, and you can get it on Amazon for $20. And of course, you'll pay about an extra $10 for shipping and handling. If you do that, thank you. But I'll gift you a copy, and it'll be absolutely free for the book. But you need to have a little bit of skin in the game. So you simply go to laserfund.com, LESERfund.com, or click on the link below, and I ask you to contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I'll pay for the book. I'll fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. And when you get it, it's actually 2 books in one. This side is for left brain learners, 200 pages, charts, graphs, explanations. If you learn more by stories, you flip it over to this one. There's about 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 stories of how IUL structured correctly is like a financial Swiss Army knife. It has all kinds of uses. It's a dream solution. So this is not about me. This is about you and your brighter future. And when you're in there claiming your book, if you like to listen and learn, if you like to watch and learn, check out the audio and video formats. We also teach educational webinars on a regular basis. They're free, no charge. And there's also an opportunity. You can put your name into an appointment slot and actually talk to an IUL specialist that has passed proficiency exams, and I oversee, and they will show you what one structured correctly looks like, and they'll help you implement it. But there's no cost or obligation if you do that. So is that fair enough? So hopefully this video on what an IUL audit is has helped you. I have trained many IUL professionals how to audit other IUL policies. They call them orphan policies, where the agent is no longer selling insurance anymore. They've gone off to something else. And if you don't have your policy audited, if your agent hasn't been getting back to you on an annual basis, I would strongly recommend you reach out to somebody who's in it for the long haul, and I can point you to people if you do not know of any.